In today's episode, we are going to learn how to make super crispy onion rings that you will not believe came from your own oven. So start by turning on your oven and setting it to 200 degrees Celsius or about 392 degrees Fahrenheit. Next, grab a medium-sized Ziploc bag and open it gently with your hands. Now I want you to measure out half a cup of flour. Use the back of a spoon to level the flour off. Then dump the flour into the Ziploc bag and seal it up. As for onions, I like to use yellow or white onions such as these as I find them to be sweeter and less pungent than the red ones. And when you're picking out your onions, you don't want it to be full of bumps and bruises. It should be nice and smooth like this. Now grab a sharp knife and cut off the top and the bottom of your onion. Start peeling off the papery skin and the first layer of flesh off the onion. This layer tends to be drier and not as sweet as the rest of the onion, so do yourself a favor and chuck it out. Now cut thin slices of the onion, and I want it about half a centimeter thick, about like this. Can you see it? Great! Now carefully separate the outer rings of the onion as we will only be using those today. You can save the smaller rings for another meal. Now go ahead and prepare as many onion rings as you want. Now with the onion rings prepared, we're gonna chug them into the Ziploc bag of flour and we're gonna seal it up. Make sure the bag is nice and tight and shake it vigorously to allow the flour to evenly coat the onion rings. Now we're gonna set the bag aside and we're gonna start preparing the breadcrumbs. To 1.5 cups of Panko breadcrumbs, we are going to add 1.5 teaspoons of onion powder, 1.5 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 1.5 teaspoons of garlic powder, and 1.5 teaspoons of chili powder. With a whisk, mix till evenly combined and make sure you break up any lumps that you may see. And now it's time to make the batter. First, you need 2 eggs. Gently crack them over a small bowl. Carefully cradle the yolk between the eggshells in both hands and allow the egg whites to drop into the bowl. Do this for both your eggs. If any eggshells end up in your egg whites, use a spoon to take it out. Starting with 2 tablespoons of flour, we are going to add 1/3 cups of milk and the 2 egg whites that we've just prepared, along with some salt and pepper. Now whisk it till it's well combined. Always start with the flour first as this helps to reduce clumping. And finally, grab a baking tray and line it with some baking paper. Now I want you to start to form an assembly line. So you're going to take the bag of onions and put it on one end, and then you're going to put it next to the batter, and then the breadcrumbs, and finally the baking tray. Take one onion ring and dust off all the excess flour and dunk it into the batter. Once coated, take out the onion ring and shake off any excess batter and place it on one side of the bowl containing the breadcrumbs. Gently sprinkle the breadcrumbs onto the onion ring and do this for both sides. And there you go, your very own breaded onion ring. And now you're going to repeat this process until your entire tray is covered with onion rings. Once your baking tray is filled with the breaded onion rings, you're going to take a can of Nonstick cooking spray and you're going to give the onion rings a very thin coat of oil to help it brown in the oven. By now, your oven should be properly heated, so wear your oven gloves and place the onion rings into the oven for about 12 to 15 minutes. You know you're done when your onion rings look like this. golden brown and crispy. So go ahead and plate these onion rings and treat yourself to the crispiest onion rings that you've ever had. And that is it. If you've enjoyed this recipe, please don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.